welcome to VintageWeightsPGH. I've been wanting to stop by Bare Steel Equipment for quite a while, and I'm happy to see all these products in person right here at Home Gym Con. I'm here with Sean. Welcome, Sean.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So what I want to do is just kind of get through some of your products, but also get into the history of your company, because that's the whole point of what I do online, is strength history. So why don't we just start out with like a brief product overview here. You've got some barbells.
I do.
So, you know, what would you say is one of your favorites out of here? I mean, is this a deadlift bar here?
That's a deadlift bar. I mean, obviously there's some powerlifting history behind it, you know, in terms of just, that's kind of where I've always liked a lot of the equipment to kind of reference. I like powerlifting, but I'm not a powerlifter.
Yeah.
So, but I want to provide equipment that a lot of these people who are could use and train with. So the Iron Skull, that's kind of been one of the premier power bars. And then after the success of that, I did a little bit of research and found a good supplier. We came out with the Steel Reaper,
Yeah.
the deadlift bar.
I'm going to try this out a little bit after we stop filming. I'm curious about this one. I've heard great things about the Iron Skull.
Yeah.
Coach Carp, I've seen him talking about it. I've seen lots of different people talking about it. I'll drop some links to reviews of some of these bars that some of my good friends have done.
That bar was a big success at the Arnold. We had this bar on display at the Arnold Classic this past year. A lot of people really liked it as well. So it was nice to get some kind of real-time feedback on it. These two bars specifically have done very well.
Now, did the bars come before or after some of your smaller stuff over here?
The bars, at least the power bar, kind of came at the same time of the inception of the company, just to add a little bit of extra, you know, what do you want to call it?
A variety of
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you know, I mean, it was just provide a little bit more than.
So some of the smaller stuff that's really caught my eye has a lot of historical connections. I'm going to get into that in just a second. But before we get that far, let's get into your history. So you're talking about, you know, the initial lineup. What spurred all this? What's your history with strength pursuits, weightlifting? Why go this direction? Why jump into this industry? How did you start Bare Steel?
I mean, a lot of it had to do with the whole reason I got into home gym specifically is because I had a kid.
Yeah.
Like most of us, right? So when my son was born, going to the gym was not really an easy feat.
I always thought that I would, and then I never made it around to it, kind of thing.
I mean, it's good in practice, or it's good in theory, but in practice, it was so much more difficult. So I invested in like a set of power blocks and just a really Dick's Sporting Goods set. And I still enjoy training when I'm playing football. But like the setup, it got the job done. But then as I started to do research, it was like, wow, there's a lot of really neat things out there.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew my own home gym for a few years. And then, like the most of us,
2020 hits.
COVID hit.
Yeah.
And but I was also seeing, like, I had a functional trainer at the time that I had maxed out on a lot of different lifts. It was a 2-to-1, so there wasn't a whole lot of weight to it. And I had seen a couple of varieties of things out there, but I ultimately felt like I could do something better.
Okay.
And I had always wanted to own some type of a company. My dad was an entrepreneur.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've always had that kind of itch.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing was, like, I never had, you know, like, and the idea of like a weight pin, a better one, I guess. Like, it was one of those things that just never went away. So this is how the stock weight pin was born. We went through a couple prototypes where one I had like a full-blown magnet on the backside because that was kind of the aha moment. And
now you got the 6-shooter.
Yeah, and that was kind of the final design, but we had originally like a 150-pound foot. And we were trying to tap the middle, and that was a wild experience.
Yeah, I have a product, Vintage Games, that I collaborated
Yeah.
put out, and it's magnetic weight calibration tape. So I feel your pain with the magnets because there were prototypes that Mike would send me to test out, and one of the problems we had was sourcing a strong magnet that could hold up to abuse, because I actually broke some of the magnets at one point. How are we going to put them in there? Mike had to work through that process of pressing them, getting the tightest hole, flow down, all that kind of thing. So I've been, my little bit of experience in product development that I've had so far touched on one thing that I worked through.
Yeah, once we kind of realized on the 6-shooter, we knew that was not only aesthetically pleasing, but it was effective. You know, and kind of one thing that was neat about it was the Adelaide itself.
We've got the strongman competition going.
Funny they would see it.
Exactly. Let's just imagine they're all really excited to hear about
That's right.
VintageWeightsPGH and bare steel equipment.
So the kind of unintended consequence of using steel was that this is like more or less a base weight of 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And so with most stacked plates, they go into increment.
This is no joke here. This is a solid 5 pounds.
It's just looking at it, it's deceiving, and I usually every time I hand it to somebody, their hand always drops. But this is kind of where it all started, and then it was one of those things where where else can I expand and be effective? The short stack was really the second tier to this. Only because there are machines that this is not effective on, or it gets caught in the way. So I mean, it's kind of a natural progression. But if you're going to have like a stacked weight pin, you can't go without your selector pin.
You got to have the selector.
Because if you're not matching, then what are you really doing in the home gym?
Quite popular,
Yeah. So not. With the decals too, like we can offer custom decals as well. So because, like yourself, like a lot of people, everyone's got a theme.
Home gym owners love customization. That's for sure.
So that's a nice thing.
Even just small commercials like to have customization.
Yeah, well, and I've done them for gyms. I've done them for personal trainers, especially. They really enjoy having kind of their own flair
logo on it. So that's a nice piece. So then back here, some of these cable attachments.
Back to there.
This is where some of the history comes in. Like this guy right here, it doesn't take many Google searches of Arnold or Franco or some of the classic golden era bodybuilders to see them using this, to see them sitting there. And I think I even tagged Bare Steel Equipment when I reposted a video of Arnold doing rows with this, doing different things with this. So then you kind of brought this back to a production, if you will. What inspired that? Just seeing old videos or something, or what?
I've always been like that. Was one of the reasons why I kind of called the company what it is, because if you think back to that golden era, there wasn't a lot of flash, but everybody just put in the work ethic. Like all the equipment was very utilitarian and it was very effective. There wasn't a lot of glam, so I wanted to bring kind of an homage back to that. And that's why, like, a lot of the pins are bare steel as well. But also, like, people have asked me why isn't it stainless? The reason is because stainless steel doesn't have magnetic properties. So, like, for example, like this is a prototype. This is stainless steel.
Nothing's happening.
It doesn't work. Whereas, I can put this on here. But so you gotta have steel in order to do it. But like with this, it's not 100% like from the pumping iron days, but it's pretty close, because the one from the pumping iron days had a weld down one of the sides. So it gave it a close, and then it opened up on both sides. But it's a neutral grip handle, but I wanted to put a 21st century spin on it with a much more aggressive knurl and solid bar stock. So,
that's the first thing I noticed about it is that it isn't one piece. You've got handles bolted in. So then right away, before I even picked it up, I thought, that means because the handles might have some nice knurling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that, on a scale of 1 to 10, just loosely feeling this for a couple seconds here, I give it like a 6 in terms of aggressiveness, which is what I would personally want to see out of a cable attachment. I'm not looking to do heavy deadlifts, so I'm not looking to tear up my hands doing some cable pulls. So it's enough that you're going to notice, but it's not killing your hands.
Right.
So yeah,
and that's kind of where we wanted them. A lot of the attachments, that's where we wanted them to be aggressive enough to where it's effective, but it's not gonna look like a deadlift bar that's gonna tear a callus.
Exactly.
That's really one of the effectiveness of that.
Another one. So tricep push down, and
I've seen this design over the years when I buy old weights and I pick up someone's entire garage gym for the sake of the 2 plates that I want. Very often they'll have something like this. So then what differentiates, buying this from you from going on Amazon and picking up something someone sees on Amazon?
so the standard ones from Amazon or any fitness store, they're more or less unisex. It's 25 millimeter. The knurling is there, and it's just a standard V-bar, but a lot of my customers, and myself included, we want a thicker bar.
Yeah.
So
this is a thicker diameter.
we went to a 30 millimeter,
Okay.
and we added a little bit more grip to the knurling
Yeah.
to give a little bit more effectiveness. So it's something that I think this is an underappreciated item at the moment, because it's still new, so we're still trying to get it out
I
there.
think here at Home Gym Con, having people pick it up and hold it,
Yeah.
they'll realize, like I just did, that, the 2 things you mentioned, this is thicker than some of those standard, like, cheap ones off Amazon. This is a thicker 30 millimeter, and this is a little more passive than the other attachment. What's the official name for the other attachment?
Iron Legend,
There you go. The Iron Legend.
appropriately named.
So this is a little more passive than that, but much more present than one of those knockoff, cheapo kind of things that I might get in a used pickup. So yeah, I'd say out of scale 1 to 10, 10 being like rip your hands open aggressive, this is like a 4. And so it's right there, it's getting your hands on there, but those are the 2 elements that are hard to come through a picture or a video.
It is.
You know? So I can see when you're mentioning that it's underappreciated, that would be my guess why. Because it's tough to, how many times you write it to say it,
Right.
it's tough to say, like, this is thicker and this is a little more aggressive knurling that you're going to like. Yeah, so hopefully
and
people walking
I
by pick it up and see that.
I had a lot of people, even at the Arnold, they would say, like, well, I've got one of those already. And I would say, well,
Not like this.
do you really?
Yeah,
Like,
not like this.
give it a look,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then that was kind of the light bulb moment where it's like, okay, well, this is a little bit better than what I'm used to.
That's cool. So I hope the same thing happens throughout the day today. So then, the one you picked up the prototype. So there's some other products like this on the market.
Yeah.
I just spoke to Darko the other day,
Right.
and what is it? Essentially, is this what I'm seeing?
It's just your
here,
multi-point
that
attachment.
Multi-point
Yeah.
attachment, so you could hook this up on a pulley machine. You could hook this up on a landmine if you wanted, with some handles,
Yep.
and work it that way. It's one of these versatile pieces.
So this stainless steel is, the prototype is the stainless steel. I've already got this available. It's called the
Yeah.
Iron Bridge.
Yeah,
But that one's from
Gotcha.
raw steel.
gotcha. So the stainless steel is the prototype.
Yes.
Okay,
So, but that's something that I'm trying to get feedback on to see if that's something I should continue.
Yeah.
So the last batch just sold out.
Okay.
But this actually fits perfectly with the Rep Aries.
Well-
so the first version.
Which is nice. If owners have that, gym owners have that. Well, it's interesting to get into that, Sean, because something about your company is the offerings that you have in Roston, which that's coming straight from my heart, because I'm one of the few out there that just love raw steel. But I say the few out there, I shouldn't really say that, because I think a lot more people will appreciate it. The biggest fear is rust. And I'm here to say that it's really, unless you are open air, windows, in Florida, deep humidity, it's really not as bad as people think.
No, it's not.
And maintenance isn't the thing that people make it out to be. I've had people comment on some of my bare steel barbells and things that I have and say, oh my gosh, you're going to be cleaning that thing every month. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, I purposely had Jeff from from Primal Armor that just stopped by. I purposely requested the Appalachian bar and bare steel. He was like, you sure? I said, I'm absolutely sure. That's what I want. I don't want any coatings. Just give it to me. So I think it's cool that you have a raw steel on the market now, but then you still explore the stainless.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where's more of the demand, but also what's still effective. So, you know, I like to give a couple offerings, like a lot of the handles, like this used to be offered in, this hammer handle used to be offered in bare steel, but we swapped to stainless. We were able to get it at the same price point. And that was really good.
There you go.
Mainly because too, like if you started to get rust, it's, you know from experience, it's a little harder to get down those deep crevices.
You can get a brush, barbell rescue brush. You can get a good brush if you're going to get down in the railing.
So we went to stainless on this, and it's been quite a popular item. That's cool. But the Knurling, is still an aggressive Knurling.
Yeah, this is a much more aggressive Knurling. This reminds me more of your Iron Strike.
Right. So that's kind of our in-house Knurling. That's been one of the more popular.
Yeah.
So we've got one that, and this is power block handle.
This is the Knurling that's on the mod bar.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
As soon as I held this, I'm like, I know this because I have a mod bar. So I'm like, I know this one. Yeah. So, the mod bar's discontinued.
Right.
I was sad to see because I love my mod bar, and I gotta say, as the vintage weights guy, I now consider mod bar to be like a hot commodity on the vintage weights market. You know, like if you can find one, you're one of the few. It's a great
bar,
Knurling.
I feel like at times it might have been ahead of its time.
I really think so, because I think, you know, in some time, with guys like me constantly using their mod bar, you might start getting some emails and getting some contact. Hey, can I buy this thing?
Well, and I had talked to a couple of people yesterday. I had a guy that was asking about it, and I said, like, it's discontinued right now, but it's not forgotten. So it's kind of put it back in the archives for now. So if we can get to a point where manufacturing it was where we were running into our issues, it's just there's no easy way to manufacture it, and because of the complexity, that's one of the things that will cost us.
Yeah.
And you know how expensive that bar was.
It took me a solid year. I'm an pretty average budget with a large family that I'm supporting.
As most are. Yeah.
And it took me a solid year of kind of putting aside for it. And but I set a goal for myself in my home gym. What are the newer pieces of equipment that I wanted? I knew I wanted a UDA from Mutant Metals, which I got in bare steel, by the way. I knew I wanted an Appalachian bar when it dropped, and I knew I wanted the mod bar. So, yeah, I just kind of prioritized and shit. I'm really happy with it.
Good.
I love the wide reach of it. I love the knurling that goes all the way out. I love that I can take off the ends and do what it's designed to do, and it's modular, so I can take off the ends. And then having all the wacky grip kind of attachments I have, I've messed around with that too, and put on the eye bolts, if you will. I've clipped on with carabiners. I've done all kinds of wacky stuff too. So yeah, I'll make sure whenever I drop this video, I drop some of the stuff I've been doing with the mod bar too. Well, hey, thanks so much, Sean. Thank you, Ron. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching Vintage Weights PGH. This is Rob. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff.